Hello, Tom Lebecki here with the latest edition of the New Theory Podcast. Okay, so I am here with the one and only JayDiamondz. Jay is actually a repeat guest, which I only had a handful to date, and we'll go through his journey, which is an interesting journey. JayDiamondz, welcome to the New Theory Podcast. How you doing today?
Hey Tom, thanks for having me. Thank you. How are you? I'm good.
My pleasure. So we gave you a quick 11-second tease. Jay is a singer, he's an artist, and he has an interesting journey. And I'll link the previous interviews. We actually did a video interview with him, as well as a podcast. But to set things up, Jay decided to go on his own, literally go all in on a music career. And once things were starting to pop, he slammed on the brakes. And Jay, my first question to you is, why? You were starting to cook. You were getting gigs. I think your YouTube got like 10,000 visitors in one day. And you slammed on the brakes. Walk us through that.
Yeah, so honestly, the reason why I slammed on the brakes is for like personal creative reasons. I felt like the stuff I was putting out, it wasn't 100% as like magical and great as I wanted it to be. I wasn't feeling 100%. The city I was in, it wasn't like 100% supportive of the music and the change and all this stuff. So what I decided to do was take a break and go to the other coast for a little bit. So I went up to LA, spent some time in Hollywood, and I reinvented myself. I found myself all over again, and I realized that's the magic about life, that you can always reinvent yourself and you can always stop and start over, no matter where you are, how old you are, or what you're doing. If it's not making you happy, it doesn't matter how many views or people are looking at it. It's all about you. So I took a little break and I made some new music, and that's something I feel 100% about. And here we are.
All right. So this is a broad question because I am not a creative. I'm more of a doer. but you as a creative, is it the environment kind of influences a creative, or does a creative influence the environment?
Um, I'd say the environment is 100% influencing on the person. Not even just the creative. Your environment definitely influences like who you are. Because let's say if you're a very happy person and you're in a happy mood, and we just pick you up and throw you into a very sad environment, like we just pick you up from a nightclub and take you to a funeral, your environment's going to affect how you feel. So with the creative process of music, when I'm like on the same routine and around the same people, and I'm feeling the same feelings, and I want to make something new happen, the only way to make that happen is by breaking out of the environment, breaking out of the mold.
Okay, so that's a critical point to say, hey, I'm looking to get a change of scenery. I'm looking to get, because if you're, respectfully, if you're around the same 10 people every day and you're looking to get your creative juices going, more than likely you might get pigeonholed. Oh, Jay, you're not serious about this, or hey, get a job, or you know what I mean? Like, so it may either block
Exactly. Yeah.
creative juices. Now, again, I'll put the links to the other interviews. I really recommend anybody to view it. But those that are like us, like immigrant families, traditional families, you went against the grain. And we talked about how it wasn't easy to do that. What happened when you went against the grain? You finally started getting, familiar support, and then you slammed the brakes. You're like, "Hey, I'm moving." Was it, "Hey, we're still going to support you," or was it like, "Hey, I told you so. We'll see you in Costco in a year"? What? How did that transpire?
Well, I didn't move. Um, I just broke the cycle of just being here, and I was like, I finally want to go to Hollywood. I finally want to go to the West Coast. I finally want to see what, everything's about. And someone that's lived their whole life in the suburbs of Maryland, on the old country roads, it was different. It was a complete change. You know, it was that life shock epiphany moment that I needed. And for a second, it was hard. It's like, you know, sending your kid away to college for the first time. It was that type of a feeling for my parents. But, you know, the family supports, they're always down. And I don't think right now I want to settle down anywhere. I feel like a gypsy. I constantly want to be on the run, on the move, here, there, Hollywood, New York, Paris, all over the world, London, Australia, Czechoslovakia.
So you want to be on the move. I get it. Now, walk me through, again, when we recorded our first interview, and those who know the podcast, probably about 200 podcasts, probably only about 3 or 4 have been in video. So the fact that I liked your story, we did do a video interview, but I felt pretty confident. You had your narrative, you had your look, you had your vocal, but obviously you had to refresh or reset. What mistakes or mistake that could have been prevented did you make around that time that to a listener who is an artist, who is a singer, another artist as well, but just somebody who's looking to get in a creative space and maybe go all in, what are one of the 2 mistakes that you made and advice you can give others, based off those learnings?
All right, so there are two like big major factors, mistakes that I made, and I would love to share this with the world. Number one, if you feel anything, act on it, because your body, your mind, your soul is telling you something. It's just a signal from the universe, and just act on it. If you feel like you want to change, if you feel like you want to move around, if you feel like you want to be around new people, do it. 100%. Believe in yourself. Trust your mind. Trust your body. Trust your gut. And the second thing is trust nobody else. Because at the end of the day, going from the DC, Maryland area to LA, I learned that. I'm sorry, I'm driving and there's a train crossing, so I don't want to put you on mute real quick. But yeah, one of the biggest things it's like a ladder you have to climb, going from like one city to another city, from one agency to another agency, from one fan to another fan, from one person to another person, and you can't trust everybody on your journey, because a lot of people, especially when you make it to a certain area, a lot of people are going to be working for this. A lot of people are going to be working for that. A lot of people can make your dreams come true. But at the end of the day, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the grind. And you have to know that they're not here for you. You are here for you.
That makes sense. And I remember, and I'm not like a super religious person, but I remember listening to a priest, and I think it's somewhat biblical. You can't pour from an empty cup. So, it's smart where you're like, hey, let me take care of myself and let me make sure that I have something to give. Because again, you can't pour if the cup is empty. All right. So you decided to go out to LA. You hooked up with some big producers. You took more of a quality over quantity approach. I remember back then Jay was dropping singles like a guy, like a horny guy at a strip club. But you pulled back. You said, hey, listen, I'm going to do an EP. And it seems like more thoughtful and more, not a bad way, regimented. It was more of a process, So give us your process as a creative. Your last single that you released, one night. Give us your creative process on that versus that was kind of a breakout hit, Shining Bodies.
100%. Okay, well, let's clear something real quick. I don't know if I'm dropping an EP yet. There's a lot of music. There's a whole collection of music. I'm still playing it by the ear and seeing how everything goes, talking to some people here and there. But there's gonna be music coming out, and with the creative process for one night, it was very quick. It didn't take too long. It came very naturally. I came into the studio, and the producer, he laid down a beat, and I was feeling it so much. And I was like, let me start spitting out random things, like random phrases. What do I want? What was I feeling that moment? And I was like, it was like 2 hours right after we came back from Vegas. I went to Vegas, and I'm like, I want something like this just for one night. I want to experience and be free for one night. So that song was about being free. It's about having fun. It's about letting go. And that's one of the easiest things that came to me in the studio at the time. I just wanted to be free, and I let everything out.
So
That was the birth of one night.
well, now that you're reemerged, and there's a little bit of a business aspect, there's a little bit of viability, wherewithal, and there's a lot of realities that come with being an artist this day and age and trying to do it full time. So, what are your expectations, goals, in the near term and medium term to long term? Did it change with this kind of newfound Jay? Are you more realistic, or give us kind of the thought process on, hey, here's what I'm looking to do, and here's my time frame, and love to hear how that differed versus your initial launch.
I'm just looking to put out good music, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, I'm gonna put out more.
All right. No, I mean, there's a theory about putting out great content, and then the visitors will come. As a marketer, I do believe in that. But then you need a greater, band of awareness. Where are you placing your bet these days? I know you do some live shows. I notice you not limited. I don't say limited, but you're kind of focusing on a little bit more focus on YouTube and more focus on Spotify. And in the past, it was like, hey, I'm on 80 different things. Now I notice you're a lot more focused. So give us that strategy on why and how you became focused. And number two, to again, we want to educate on this program. Give the artists what some advice you have for them on what platforms make sense as somebody who's unsigned and an independent artist.
Well, the thing about focusing on the Spotify and YouTube versus everything is you have to focus your energy on what's really popping right now. And you had your Vines, and you had your MySpaces, and everything has its era, everything has its time. And right now, I feel like the hype is with Spotify, the hype is with Apple Music, the hype is with Instagram. You can go on Instagram and they have the people doing live videos all the time. You have millions and millions and millions of users, and it's made the artists and the fan connection so much easier, where you can just go off and target exactly who you want to target and who you think you can relate to, and it cuts out a lot of the middlemen, the middle companies, especially for unsigned artists. Social media is number one right now, just the only tool that you can use. It sucks because I personally I think the internet is, separating people and societies, and just making us all zombies to our phones and stuff, and our tablets, computers. But at the end of the day, it's where masses of people are, and that's how you communicate with people. So as an up and coming artist that's unsigned, get out there and post content, post good stuff, be creative, engage with your users, engage with your fans, talk to them, leave comments, have fun. Don't use it as work. You treat it like it's a cyber getaway to your own personal oasis.
Now you're always been a laid back guy, right? But and I do sense a sense of being cerebral towards this, which I like, right? However, with any new venture or newer venture, there's always some uncertainty. So at this point, JayDiamondz, what scares you the most? What are you most fearful of?
Honestly, I can't think of anything right now. Ask me in 10 years.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. You always have a kind of a blind faith, and which again, as from a creative standpoint, not that I can do it myself, but to an observer, the more unencumbered you are, the better chance it does provide some good creative outlet. Okay, so Jay, you got a show coming up. Feel free to plug that show as well as walk us through how to find you.
Thank you. Yes, I have a show coming up at the Whiskey A Go Go, the world famous Whiskey A Go Go in West Hollywood. very soon, this Sunday actually. So I'll be out there doing that. And then you can find me on Instagram at it's JayDiamondz, ITSJAY, Diamond with a Z. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on Apple Music. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on New Theory. You can find me anywhere. You can find me everywhere.
Wow, I like the I like the association. So hold on, let's listen to this a little bit. Can anybody catch me right before I fall? So I'm gonna put a link in bio, Jay. You know, again, I have very few return guests, and it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to have you on because I like to follow people's journeys or thought process, unpack, you know, what's working, what's not working. And, you know, what I like is you know, I'm more of a doer and putting stuff out there. And then you're like, hey, just do it and we'll worry about it later. You're more, which I like is, you know, and I respect is, hey, I put out some content that I don't love. Let me hit the pause button. Let me go back to the lab. And it seems that it not only worked, but it's starting to bear fruit. So, Jay, listen, thank you for being on the New Theory podcast, and we'll put the links in the bio. And best of luck for your show on Sunday.
Thank you so much, Tom. You're amazing, and I just want to say thank you to everyone that's listening out there. Keep shining, keep doing your thing. One day you'll make it wherever you want to go.